8:22, it's Wednesday morning. You're watching Breakfast Television. And joining us is Alanna Fero, who's a human resources expert. Welcome.
Thank you.
Now, you're here because it's around this time of the year that sometimes people get restless in their occupations.
I think so.
Happens to me usually in the spring. No, I'm serious. I think it's tidal or it's tied in with the equinox. But I always start going, gee, am I doing the right thing?
You do not.
Well, not anymore.
This is a good gig. Just as a tip from an expert, this is a good gig.
All right, Alanna. You're right.
Yeah.
I should count my blessings.
Yes.
Now, how do you know when you should be moving on? That's the thing, because a lot of people get into a rut and they just can't motivate themselves to get out of it. What are the big signs?
Well, I think there's some big picture signs, like are most of the jobs doing what you do, heading off to another part of the world where they can be done more cheaply. Oh. It serves you to work on some, developing some additional job skills and getting out of that before your department actually closes down and they
so if you
send
can
you for
anticipate downsizing,
absolutely.
It helps.
Absolutely. I think you want to be watching what your company's attitude, energy, goals seem to be. If operations meetings stop being about sales targets and growth and, you know, next year's big conference and start being about, we've switched over to no name brand coffee and we'd like it if you all just drink 1 cup a day, please.
Well, we drink Maxwell House.
Yeah, well, I know, I saw that actually. I had some. It's
It's delicious.
Good to the last drop.
Cheers.
Yeah, mountain grown. There you go.
All right.
If they stop spending money on people, they have no money for professional development, they don't cater the lunches anymore, everything is about cost cutting.
What about they start laying extra security staff in the lobby to help escort people?
Yeah, if they're not in the lobby, but they're in fact carrying a box and they're coming toward you with it.
With your name on the box.
Yeah, I think you missed the sign if it reaches that point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you might have missed your window. But I think for most people, the signs are really, they're intuitive and they're inside. A really good sign that you need to change your job is that you dread Sunday nights. You're miserable. You can't get to sleep. You start thinking about the fact that your weekend is over and it's this restless night and you come in on Monday morning and you don't want to be there.
You know, there are people who go through their entire career hating every single day of their job.
Absolutely. Their entire lives.
We know people like that.
We all do. There's too many of them.
And they just put their nose to the grindstone. They figure they got to support their family. And this is what they're going to do, but they don't necessarily look forward to work. I often wonder how those people make it through life. Well,
I think they've decided one of two things. One is that work isn't going to be fun. That's why they call it work. They don't really understand that you can actually feel passionate, even joyful about what you do each day.
Right.
My goal for my career management clients is for them to be paid very well to do things that they would do for free.
Okay.
If they didn't need the money, they would still want to be in this place with these people doing this kind of work.
Is there an artful way to exit a job and move on without burning the bridge, you know, and leaving a bad taste in the mouth of the previous employer?
Yeah, I mean, I think you want to ask for an exit interview. You want to sit down. You want to tell them in person. Don't do this.
An exit interview?
Yeah.
Is that what we call it?
Yeah, that's what we call it.
Okay.
And so these were the things about this job that were great for me.
Right.
These are some things that you'd want to know are coming up in the next quarter. This is a brief that I've prepared for whoever's going to be, you know, taking over my role.
Yeah.
If you can offer more than 2 weeks' notice, offer to stay or help with the transition. A lot of times the company won't take that. They'll say, well, if you're going, then go, because they know you've kind of checked out.
They're all worried about corporate espionage these days.
I don't think they're really worried about that.
The computer gets shut down, the passwords change.
You know, it's more like departures are a virus, and once one person is leaving, and they're in the company for 2 weeks talking about their new gig and why it's better.
They don't want it poisoning the atmosphere.
They don't want to go toxic and lose a bunch more employees who are starting to get the same idea. That's more the reason why they say, well, thank you very much, and here's your check, and you can leave right now.
All right. So now you've determined it's time to move on.
Yeah.
You've arranged for your exit interview.
Yes.
Everything seems to be copacetic. But you're out there, maybe you don't have the new job yet, but you've got to tailor a resume now. Are resumes looking different than they did 10 years ago?
I think, yeah, profoundly, or at least they should be. Unfortunately, most of them don't, but they need to look different. You need to have a value proposition. You need to be telling a company the value that you can deliver in the future, not merely summarizing all the job descriptions that you've held in the past. And if you haven't applied for work in a number of years, you need to recognize that a lot of companies now are doing their screening on the internet.
Right.
And there's OCR software that is scanning your resume looking for keywords. There's not a person reading it.
So when you send your resume in online, it should have certain words in it that, in a way, if they don't completely at least mock what's in the job application.
I would completely repeat it. This is not a place to be original. You're dealing with a machine. Whatever the keywords are in the posting, make sure each one of them appears 2 to 3 times between your cover letter and your resume.
Right.
And similarly, pull vocabulary off their website. You know, how are they describing themselves? What are their core values? What are their core functions? What do they see as the features and benefits of what they do? No, it's not even really the point. It's about getting through the computer screen, and then you come in and you can actually talk to someone who may or may not, in fact, have read that document. Yeah, you bet.
They see the personality behind
And
it.
then I would have a much more beautifully formatted one on nice paper that you bring into.
Like Martha Stewart.
A little.
Okay, Alanna.
I'm having a Martha
Fero.
moment. I don't know.
You're having a Martha moment?
Apparently.
Have some maximum.
Okay.
Alanna Fero, thanks so much for those tips. Very, very good as we head into the new year. 8:27 a.m. You're watching BT.
I could do something for you.
Had a very shiny nose.